This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 71 of the Healthy Critters Radio on Horse Radio Network. Healthy Critter Radio is brought to you by Biostar US. Find them online at biostarus.com.
On today's show, we discuss equine skin cred. In Tigapedia, we talk about building a better top line. In Critter Nutrition, we examine natural and artificial flavorings. And in Coffee Klatch, we discuss the bad habits we let our horses and dogs get into. Join us. So you've been at Devon, Patty P.
I have. And interestingly enough, I was trying to figure out how many years. So for the listeners that don't know what this is a very large CDI that has been held in the Devon, Pennsylvania area for a long time. And originally from New Jersey, we got a box. And anybody who knows about the Devon Horse Show or Dressage at Devon, you get boxes so you can sit and watch. And it's a really quite a big deal. And we've been doing it for, I think, over 30 years. It's kind of a big deal. And it's something that people actually leave in their will to their kids because they're not easy to get. And we've had the same box, so it's kind of fun. So else. It's really, and I've had the same box neighbors for the whole time we've had it. She's watched my kids grow up. It's really kind of cool. So it's always fun to go and see them. But now that I can just drive there again, it's it's easy to get there. So, but I brought a dear friend of mine from Dallas for the first time. She's heard about it, and I tried to describe Dressage at Devon, and it's or the Devon Horse Show Fairgrounds. It is literally I don't even know how many blocks it is, but it's just this huge horse show in the middle of kind of a city. Is that a good way to describe it, Tigger?
Yes, totally.
You're driving along. Yeah, you're just driving along, and then all of a sudden you see these buildings, and you don't necessarily know that it's kind of something surrounding these big rings. It looks like buildings. They're blue and white. But when we pulled in, she said, "Oh my gosh, this is not even close to what I expected." So that was a lot of fun watching her response because, I've done that for years with people, bringing them in there and then just not, thinking, what it would be like. But when you try to describe it, it's literally in a city block. It's,
Yep.
And it's two rings, the main ring, which is the Dixon Oval, and then the Gold Arena. And then the warm-up areas, which are not very big. And it's a week long, and it's a breed show where they show different breeds in hand, and they're judged on conformation. And they do Hanoverian classes and Oldenburg classes and Dutch classes. And
they do Frisian classes and Arab classes and quarter horse. Every breed you can think of is there.
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
And it's just, and it's a lot of history, and you learn a lot about different types, and it's just very well run. But the best part about Devon, besides the funnel cake.
Oh, my favorite.
I mean, it's different. Like, it's different than global because there's just a lot of people, like, just interesting kind of gift places and jewelers that are from that particular area. And growing up with it, it's just, to me, it's like going home. So it's just a lot of fun. I mean, I went to college around the corner, and it was the Equine Studies program, and we actually had to go and volunteer. And so it's been in my life for a long time, and it's just neat to go and just see all the fun stuff that they do. And a lot of people on Saturday night, which is the freestyle. It's a very, very big deal for the freestyle. And, people show up dressed up, and sometimes they wear beautiful hats, and it's just fun. It just was a lot of fun.
It really is a throwback country fair kind of a thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the best way to say it.
And it's very different than the indoors that you see. The indoor circuits, it's very different because it's an outdoor
totally
thing.
Different.
And you're right. It's a really cool thing. And I think anybody who has any interest at all in equestrianism or even the history of equestrian sport in the United States should attend Dressage at Devon at least once.
Or even the Devon Horse Show, because they're both same sort of thing. same sort of feeling and theme, and it's just I remember years ago. There's just been so many shifts, and it's evolved into so many different things over the years. But there's they've had sponsors that have sponsored these huge parties for actually like the competitors. Trying to think of the big Frisian place. We're speaking of Frisian Tigger that was in Dallas. I can't think of the name of it, but they once sponsored an amazing spread, and just all the different things that have happened over the years. It's fun. But this year was a little bit more low key. I think a lot of people had been at the WEG, and so this one was a little lower attended. But I will say it was still very nice to see that there were 8 Grand Prix horses. And what they do Friday night is they do all the Grand Prix horses for the special and the freestyle on Saturday. So anyway, it was a great time. I suggest it for anybody. It's always this time of year, which is nice because it's just starting to get a little cool. And sometimes it may rain a little bit there.
Yeah, just
in the beginning of the week, but
every so often.
Every so often, but it's still worth going.
Speaking of rain, we're going to talk about skin crud, and some of that does come from too much moisture. So
that's true.
Maybe we should move on and start talking about the crud.
Talk about crud.
And for this roundtable, Coach Jen gets to dive in.
Okay.
I was informed by Pat or Tigger that I had to take the lead on this one because it was my bright idea.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Uh-huh. I like that.
And my bright idea was skin crud. Here in Ocala, Florida, we are going into winter, which is really our dry season, but it's also the season when the most riding happens. And further north, they're going into the wet season, which is autumn in many parts of the country. So you're going to have skin crud from lots of riding and conditioners and fly sprays, and then you're going to have skin crud from muck and mire. So I thought we'd have a little chat about the many, many faces of skin crud.
Of crud.
Yes. So I thought maybe we'd start with Tigger, since this is Healthy Critters Radio. And
nice segue.
Nice segue. How about that? That's not my first rodeo, honey.
Well done.
Talk about a little bit about the role that nutrition can play in your horse's overall skin health. Because the healthier his skin is, the less likely he is to get skin crud. So maybe that's a good place to start.
Well, let's also start with some common skin cruds as we know them. Rain rot, it's a bacterial infection. It can be a little bit like ringworm in that it appears in the fall and winter, and some people think that it really is contagious, and you need to do a very specified program to get rid of it. It can be transmitted through blankets and shared tack and brushes, and then there's scratches, which is a little different. It's known by older horsemen or in older days as mud fever, greasy heel. I when I was a kid, we used to call it dew poisoning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's horses exposed to moisture for long periods of time. And as rainy a season as we have had in the East Coast, scratches is probably in some areas quite prolific. It's when those areas are constantly wet, it actually becomes an irritant, and it causes inflammation, and it's an ideal site for infection. So, how do we deal with this? For me, it begins with the health of the gut. That doesn't mean that it prevents skin curd or the like, but it can really help the horse fight off the bacteria, the inflammation, if they're really healthy. And I'll give you an example. My horses live out primarily, and we've had a lot of rain, and not one of them has scratches. Not one. And none of them have rain rot.
That's good.
None of them wear blankets. So I think clearly it has a lot to do with what they're eating. And not to sound like a broken record, but, the less processed and stress you put on the gut, the less stress you put on the body system at large. And I really like foods that support the immune system. I love coconut oil, and you've heard Patty and I talk about coconut oil a lot. It's a very good immune support food. And bovine colostrum. And I think if I lived in Florida, Jennifer, and it was fall, the two things I would be doing. One is I would turn my attention to the liver, since the liver is a very important organ to get rid of toxins. And I would do a good 30 to 45 days of a liver cleanse, and not a detox, but, because the better the liver functions, the better the immune system.
Would it be for someone who is going down that road of, okay, I kind of need to turn over a leaf for my horse's nutrition, and I need to get started giving him more whole foods that are feeding his whole body, rather than something that's been processed and taken apart and then put back together? Is a liver cleanse something that might be a good idea for a lot of people starting down that path to help the horse rid himself of the built-up stuff that's been left behind by a lot of processed foods?
Yes, but now in traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine, fall is the time of the liver.
Really?
Fall and spring. That. Yeah.
So to do it in fall and spring. Interesting.
Yeah. So I use milk thistle seed. I get it from Amazon. It's organic. I think it's from Star West Botanicals. And I do it for 30 days, 2 teaspoons, 1 teaspoon twice a day. And everybody gets it. And that's what I would do particularly in Florida, where you tend to have a lot of bacteria and a lot of fungi and a lot of wet.
Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah.
A lot of everything, insects. So I would do a liver cleanse for sure.
My next thing that I thought about when it came to the horse's health as it pertains to his nutrition, a lot of us associate fats with skin.
Yep.
It's just like, fats and oils equal happy skin. How does the relationship, how should we approach that we want to have our horse's skin as happy and healthy as possible so that he can ward off the pathogens as naturally as possible and give him a head start in the game? Is there such a thing as feeding our horses fats that are good, fats that are bad? Is there too much fat? Or certain horses shouldn't have fat?
It's the kind of fat that becomes the most important. So there's a wonderful product. We've talked about it on the show, Renew Gold. It's got the coconut meal with fat. It's got rice bran that has fat, has flax. There's essential fatty acid. That's a really good fat and protein source product. Mm-hmm. It would be very good for the skin, but I wouldn't recommend it for a metabolic horse because rice bran tends to be very high in non-structural carbohydrates. So then just go with straight coconut meal. It's made by a company called Cool Stance, and you get the coconut oil. It's 10% of the coconut meal. Or you can go directly to just straight coconut oil and feed 2 tablespoons twice a day. Always make sure you've got omega-3s. I use chia, but you can use flax or stabilized flax. But think of the omega-3s and the fats as being supportive to the skin. They're not – the immune system is the key to fighting bacteria. So, yes, we need the fats, but, boy, we really need a healthy gut. And, I know I've told this story of going to this seminar in California, and it was a triathlete. And he was saying that, human athletes – serious athletes, they would train 24 hours a day if they could, but the body needs time to rest and heal and repair. And he said, when you eat processed food, you put more stress on the GI tract, and it takes away time for the body to heal and repair. And that had such a dramatic impact on me, thinking about it in terms of canines and equines. If we pour a lot of processed feed to our horses, their bodies have less time to heal and repair stuff.
Because they're busy doing other things. Yeah, that makes
trying
sense.
to process the stuff.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
So the cleaner the diet, I mean, I think one reason that my horses, retired horses here, do so well is that they're basically on a normal horse diet, which is grass, hay, and then, you know, some alfalfa pellets and Renew Gold to get their supplements down.
Yeah. So that's one aspect of the whole skin crud thing is if your horse is healthier on the inside, he's going to be healthier on the outside. And then there's
can fight the bacteria.
And they can
because
fight the bacteria.
Horses are in contact with bacteria just like we are 24/7.
Right. So the other half of it is what is on the outside of the horse, getting onto their skin, so their environment and their management. So I came across I don't remember if it was a blog post from a veterinarian, might have been a blog post. They had a customer, a client who was having had a horse that was having skin issues. They weren't getting anywhere, getting the horse better. And finally they said, okay, we just need to look at the whole thing. So they really did a very detailed study of this horse's management, his existence, what he ate, what he did for a living, what kind of fly spray he used, everything. And the conclusion was that they bathed him too much. So that got me to thinking, because I know people who were like that because a horse that's competing for a living, he can get bathed with
every day,
every single day.
Yeah.
And there's a real shift. And I got to looking at my grooming kit out in the barn. We've gotten into a shift now that when it comes to caring for our horse grooming wise, we use bottles and buckets of creams and salves and sprays and liniments and soaps and conditioners way more than we use brushes.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think to myself, are we really contributing to removing so much of the bacteria that the good stuff that should be living on their skin's gone too?
Well, that's the problem with using antibacterial. I mean, it's one thing to use antibacterial when you have a problem, but some of these shampoos and things have, and we think it's great. Oh wow, antibacterial.
You can't buy a hand soap in the store anymore that's not
exactly.
antibacterial. Yeah,
and it's the worst thing we can do.
Yeah,
and that's why I like Warhorse shampoos.
Yeah,
there's none of that stuff in there, and you get the oil from the sunflower to keep the coat, moisturized, not dried out.
If you can imagine what would happen to your own hands if you washed them, your whole body, you washed them in that stuff every single day. And I think I think a horse's skin is probably even more sensitive to those sorts of things than people are.
Yeah.
So, Patty, how does your little world deal with the crud? Your thoughts?
Well, I want to say one comment about what you were just saying, because I think of my father-in-law, who was a surgeon, who was constantly washing his hands, and we used to call him sissy fingers because they would just get so dry. So that just gives. I mean, he had to, because he wasn't. He said the same thing. I'm washing off the good and the bad. So that's something to think about. One of the things that because the horses that I am dealing with are in training, they're getting groomed every day. And so one of the biggest battles for us, I think, that it helps us is that these horses are groomed and they're getting all the natural oils pulled to the top of the coat. And, we use a curry and we stimulate the skin and we get the dander off. And, and so that's a big, I think that's a big thing that can help prevent some of the stuff too. And then also washing the brushes, making sure the brushes get washed so it doesn't.
Yeah, because the cruddy stuff can live inside there.
Yeah.
But I have gotten away from being as ultra, for a while there, I was only riding nice big white stallions, and it was very easy to want to bathe them every day, because when you're out riding out in Wellington, the last thing you want to do is be going out there with a horse with big manure spot on it. that was trying, but I've definitely gotten away from that a little bit more in doing someone, actually, I cannot remember her name, but she was actually one of the best grooms in Wellington that I met. And she said, this was years ago, I groom my horses. And sometimes when they come in super sweaty, yes, I'll hose them off. I only bathe them maybe twice a month, but I curry them. And she showed me how she would use the type of brushes she would do and how she would pull out the oils. And I think that is also, and I'm with Tigger 1,000% on, if healthy horse, you tend to be, the whole horse is healthy, obviously. It helps the skin. But I love me some coconut oil.
And remember rub rags.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I still have them. Yeah.
I mean, that's a lost art to really rub down a horse to get the shine in the coat and the dirt out of the coat.
Well, and when you're doing that and you're doing it well, you're getting the dirt out, you're leaving the natural oils in, and you're also improving the circulation and you're improving the health of that fascia. So many times you go up to a horse,
absolutely,
especially the ones that are in competition, and the fascia, which is what's right underneath of the skin, their skin is drawn so tight across their body, and well done grooming, not just hard grooming, but well done grooming, keeps that connection between the muscle tissue underneath and the skin on top, keeps that healthier, and it gives you better circulation and healthier skin. And that was something I very recently was reminded of when I had a massage therapist come out and work on Nigel, my big doppy thoroughbred. And she's one of those massage therapists that she makes sure that you're paying attention, and she puts your hands on the horse and say, this is what I'm feeling, and this is how you can help maintain what I just did. And she mentioned that this isn't just helping the muscles deep down. This is helping the fascia that comes next, and it's helping the skin that's on top all be healthier. All three layers are going to be healthier because we see it as shiny and beautiful and glossy and dappled is what we see, but what's going on the inside is that improved circulation and better health for their skin, which is the largest organ in the body.
Well, and how many horses, like if you see wild horses that are still wild, you notice how shiny their coats are, how nobody's brushing them, nobody's shampooing them. And I know this with the retired horses here, they don't get baths, but because they're eating what they need to eat and what they should eat, they all have dapples and shiny, and I don't put a brush on them. My promise to each of them was, don't worry, I won't brush you anymore.
Yeah. Well, and they roll and get dirty,
and then they get wet, and then they get dirty again, and then they get clean, and so I sometimes think we overdo it. But if you do have an ongoing immune issue that your horse has got scratches, or is getting rain rot, get them on bovine colostrum for sure, and really look at what you're feeding and how you can reduce stress on the GI tract.
There we go. And to wrap this discussion up, because we could go on all day about skin crud, when it comes to treating skin crud, my advice is this. Do not go to forums to find out how to take care of it. Chat rooms and Facebook are not the place to go. Look for some scientific research if you don't mind, because it is out there. They have been doing research, proper scientific research with treating scratches and rain rot. We had one of the people who did some very recent research on the Horses in the Morning show a few months back, and fascinating stuff. And their conclusion was on the study that they did was the most effective product for rain rot, which was on the top of the horse's body versus scratches on their ankles and pads, was tea tree oil. Not tea tree oil as a ingredient in another product, but they just created tea
tree oil. They
used it in, I think it was 1 per 100.
In a dilution.
One part tea tree to 100 parts water. Or 99 parts water, I guess it was. So it was very diluted. So if you look up scientific research on that sort of thing, that would be my suggestion versus asking people on Facebook, because some of the stuff is crazy. And and this is one of my favorite personal ones. This is my personal opinion. I will not go near any skin funk with an iodine product because it actually it actually kills the skin cells faster than they can heal.
Yeah.
And I will leave it at that because I could go on all day long. But that was a fascinating discussion, ladies. Yeah. I didn't know a lot of that stuff. I didn't know about liver cleanses.
Milk thistle is your friend.
The milk thistle is my friend. There we go.
Yep.
Hetty?
What do you want?
You sound funny, Hetty.
Yeah, she sounds like she's got her foot on the cell phone.
Hey, Hetty, we're going to hang up on you and call back because you sound like you're on the Starship Enterprise.
Oh, can you hear me now properly?
Oh, here, this is so much better. Thank you, Hetty.
You know why?
Because your servant screwed something
up?
No, because we pushed the answer button 17 million times, and then it was still ringing and ringing and ringing, which was stupid because we had pressed the answer button. But then, while you were going on about how I sounded like Spock, the ringing stopped.
Oh.
After we've had our little chat.
No. I need to go on.
If you would just let your servant on, we would really appreciate that.
She's not allowed to talk. She's not even real.
She might be back by the time we're done. She might be.
We'll see.
Well, Jennifer has a question for you.
Jennifer!
Yeah, throw me under the bus. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you, Hedwig, because we value your opinion. When it comes to we were discussing earlier in the show today skin crud on horses and the benefits of your horse being groomed well.
Sorry. Do you people even have knives?
Yeah, no, we don't. All we do is talk about horses and dogs, so we don't have a live. So we want to know, Hedwig, when it comes to pet servants, what kind of grooming tools should our pet servants, specifically our dog servants, be using for their dogs to keep their skin and coat happy and healthy and in tune with the fashionable world?
None whatsoever.
Tigger's not going to come back from that one.
Tigger, who is among the enemies of my kind, subjected us over the winter to a special soap. It's supposed to be so nice. You know what it is? It's soap. Just like other soap, it takes away the nice scent that I rolled in. And you said, oh, but it smells like lemon. Oh, well, you know what, Tigger? I don't want to smell like a lemon or anything else you want me to smell like. I want to smell like dead rodents. That's why I'm rodents. And I wanted to smell like. My sister once proudly found a nice dead rodent, and she coated herself in blood, and she looked exactly like something from, I don't know, a violent film, think Braveheart or something. And our servant picked her up and put her in attacked her viciously, so she smelled like lemons.
Which
and did not have blood on her face anymore. So I am sorry. If I roll in deer poo, I want to smell like deer poo. If I roll in dead thing, I want to smell like dead things. And I never want to smell like lemons, and I never want to have a brushing.
Well, what happens when you do have to have a brushing?
There is video here to pay.
What?
Can't say the word on the radio, Tigger. It's rude.
Sorry.
What is the antithesis of heaven, Tigger?
Hell.
You're not supposed to say that on the radio.
So, I mean, do you bite? Do you snarl? Do you...
No. I twitch and bark like a maniac. I'm hideous. Oh, and I do it while my sister is experiencing this as well. And then when either of us is put down, I run around the house barking and shaking my suit out and running. And then I pee everywhere.
Oh, God.
So I have to be put
doesn't
right out.
sound worth it. It just doesn't sound worth it.
Yeah.
Oh, not worth it. That's right, Pat.
Okay. Well, I'm sure there are a lot of dogs out there that share your exact same belief.
You can take your warhorse so disgusting lemons and get rid of them.
Oh, I can't wait to get my hands on you in Florida. You are going to smell so lemony.
I am not going to smell like lemons. I'm going to live at the barn. That's right, rolling in dead straws.
Well, thanks, Hetty.
That's about right.
Bye-bye, Hetty.
Au revoir.
So we are at our Ticketpedia portion of our show, and I've got a good one for you, Tig.
Ready?
And I'm sure you get this a lot. How do you build a better top line through nutrition?
It all begins with protein. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
And the quality of the protein, meaning not overly processed, in my opinion, like, good grass, good hay, alfalfa, very good source of complete protein. And there are some very specific amino acids called the branched chain amino acids. And if you've got a horse, normally horses eating, good pasture and getting, a good quality hay, our top lines are fine. Once you add exercise and stress, you start the muscles as you're building a horse up, they also start breaking down. So it's a fine line. You want to build them, and then the body breaks them down, and then you build them again. So for horses in training, they may need more, and older horses, they may need more protein. And there are a lot of protein supplements. There are feeds out there with, 30% protein. And those are all ways to answer this question about top line. I personally really like branched chain amino acids that come from things like undenatured whey protein. I love hemp protein. It's not as concentrated with branched chain amino acids, but it has them. So I look for multi-sources of branched chain, and Biostar has a product called Locomotion, which uses undenatured whey and hemp and egg. Albumin is a fantastic protein. So I like for the horse to get variety, which is also good for the gut, but get a variety of branched chain amino acids from different sources. The other component of building a top line has to do with the gut. So how well is the horse processing the protein that you're giving them? And so, with an older horse, they may not be digesting as well. So you may want to look at digestive enzymes. The one that is going to be specific to protein is called protease. And most enzyme formulas already have it because protein is such an important nutrition in horses. You also want to look at maybe the microorganism of your horse's GI tract. You might want to start adding some probiotics that will the colony has a lot to do with overall digestion and utilization. So
I'm going to stop you for 1 second if I can. So explain the difference between digestive enzymes and probiotics.
Totally. It's like the difference between football and tennis.
Okay.
Meaning,
do you know the difference? Oh God, yeah.
I want more words.
What I mean is, both enzymes and probiotics live in the gut. Both football and tennis take a ball, but other than that,
right.
they're very different. Enzymes are responsible for digesting protein, fats, carbohydrates, fiber, and the enzymatic action in the body is actually like multitasking. You can't build anything without enzymes in the body. But I'm speaking specifically to digestive enzymes. Yeah. So digestive enzymes help the horse utilize food. Probiotics help the horse utilize food by balancing the colonies of microorganisms in the gut. They're not breaking down food literally like an enzyme is.
Right. Okay. That's really the big, that's the big, because I've had so many people ask me that. I'm like, hold on, let me get my phone. I'll Google it and see.
And there are companies that put enzymes with probiotics. So,
because don't they kind of work together or no?
Well, they work in the same area, which is the GI tract, but I would not say they work in concert, but they don't work in opposition either.
Okay.
It would be like one is the carpenter and one is the painter.
Okay. So they're all working to get the end result to have a healthier.
And
they all want your house to look better when you're done.
Correct.
Yeah.
And here's the part that we always have to be reminded: every horse is an individual, and one horse may respond great with enzymes and some branched chain amino acid supplementation. Another horse may not get anything out of the enzymes and may blossom on probiotics and branched chain amino acids. And one last word, that there are a lot of branched chain amino acid products, supplements, and the reason I don't like them is they've isolated the branched chain, and branched chains were designed by nature to be in concert with other proteins. In food, you don't just find branched chain amino acids isolated. They're with other essential amino acids and fiber and enzymes and all sorts of things in their whole food form. So that's why I don't like isolates very much.
Okay. I'm writing down stuff as you're talking away.
Yeah, the lesson is read the fine print. Either, read the fine print.
Yeah. Right.
Just because it says protein in big letters on the top doesn't mean it's what you need.
Correct.
There we go.
Right.
Fascinating stuff.
Yes, indeed. Good question, Patty.
So now we're at critter nutrition, and I'm going to talk about natural and artificial flavorings. It's difficult to find a bag of feed or even a supplement that doesn't have natural or artificial flavorings as an ingredient. The term natural flavoring sounds innocuous, perhaps a nice apple flavor from a real apple or carrot flavor from a real carrot. How about delicious real meat juice as a natural flavoring in dog food? Sad truth is, natural flavorings are created in laboratories using hundreds of chemical compounds. Only one component of a natural flavoring must come from a plant, tree, spice, vegetable, yeast, meat, poultry, eggs, dairy products, whose significant function is flavor, not nutritional. Some natural flavorings are made up of 200 blended chemical additives. So only one component of 200 has to be from a plant, tree, spice, vegetable, etc. According to research by the Environmental Working Group, natural and artificial flavors really aren't that different. In the livestock business, flavorings are often called palatants. The use of palatants are to encourage animals to eat more. Much of the feed for animals is made up of the starchy grains, corn, millet, barley, because feeding carbs is cheaper than feeding fats. It has been estimated that as many as 75% of the cattle and hogs eat palatin during their lifetimes. Remember, farmers growing animals for food want their animals to get big as fast as possible. By increasing the flavor of feed in order to get animals to eat more and thus get bigger and fatter, the ones that aren't killed as youngsters often become obese and metabolic disease can set in. Why do we need flavorings? The answer to this lies partly in the agricultural revolution that began after World War II. The impetus to grow more food meant that how the food actually tasted was not as important as growing a lot of food. It was quantity over quality. New hybrid seeds plus an arsenal of fertilizers meant that farmers could produce more per acre, resulting in more food, yes, but less taste, and in the words of a famous chef, blandness. The blandness in part comes from lower nutritional content, higher carbohydrate content, and more moisture content of the food. There is even a term for this, dilution. Not only is the food bland that humans eat, so are the feeds and concentrates and supplements that horses, dogs, cattle, pigs, goats, sheep, and chickens eat. Animals and humans are less inclined to eat bland food, so flavorings are added to stimulate smell and taste. Flavoring chemicals give food specific smells that the food industry calls flavor. The same mixture of chemicals would be called fragrance if in cleaning products, perfumes, or personal care products. Smell makes up to 80% of the sense of taste. If the food smells good to a horse, dog, or human, the brain thinks it will taste good too. There are taste receptors in the GI tract. These are the sensors for fat, protein, bacteria, hormones, and plant compounds. These receptors play an important role in how humans and animals feel during and after eating. The fragrance and flavor industry is estimated to rake in $24 billion annually. This is not a small industry. The size of this industry highlights just how much of our food, our horses' food, our dogs' food contain flavorings. In a 2011 interview on 60 Minutes with Morley Safer, two flavor scientists from the company Givaudan said that their one goal was making food addictive. Flavorings contain solvents, emulsifiers, and preservatives, which can make up the majority of ingredients in each specific flavoring itself. Take apple flavoring, for instance. As many as 50 chemicals can be used to approximate the taste of an apple. Horses and dogs and humans crave variety in foods. Fake flavors disguise foods that are similar and make them seem more different than they really are. The flavor technology of fake flavors, applied to bland food, induces the sense of smell and tricks the brain into a heightened sense of pleasure. Like a person with alcoholism or drug addiction always needing more in order to get that initial experience of high or bliss, the more we eat food with flavorings, the more we crave. Arthur Mark Schatzer's book, The Dorito Effect, highlights why we can't eat just one Dorito. It's not the corn chip itself, or even the fat it is fried in. It is the taste, coming from a concoction of flavoring chemicals, a kind of opiate for the brain, and extra pounds for the body. Bottom line, our industrial food system grows food that has more carbohydrates and moisture and literally no taste. Due to the years of chemical fertilizer and pesticide applications, the soil no longer provides enough nutrients to the plants, so fortification is necessary in the form of synthetic or coal tar derivative vitamins. Now take commercial horse feed. The ingredients are from the industrial food complex, but most of these ingredients are not even whole. They are byproducts. Wheat middlings, dried distillers' grains, which is the leftover mash from ethanol production, soybean hulls, wheat flour, corn distillers' dried grains, also from ethanol production, corn germ, dehulled soybean meal. Add some fortification because byproducts are even less nutrient dense than the whole food they once were from, and then add some flavoring so that this tough stuff tastes good. When we eat wild blueberries or homegrown tomatoes, we tend to eat less and not pig out like we do on Big Macs, soft drinks, and chicken nuggets. This is because real food provides a deeper satiety from the complex of nutritional factors in food and another component, toxins. Organisms like plants contain small amount of toxins, for instance, the tiny amount of cyanide in apple seeds. One theory is that mammal and human brains and GI tracts evolved a system to regulate the consumption of toxins. When we eat real food, we become satiated, and the dose of toxins in the food don't hurt us. Nature has mastered the art of hedonic density, food that maximizes pleasure and minimizes calories. The problem with food today is that food we grow on an industrial scale is less delicious. The food that we, our horses, our dogs should not eat, flavorings, byproducts, highly processed ingredients, they taste much more exciting. Getting flavorings out of the diet. Read the ingredient listing on equine feed labels. Whole food component products like Cool Stance, Renew Gold, alfalfa pellets, Timothy pellets, whole chia, whole flax, whole oats do not contain flavorings of any kind. Organic or cold-pressed oils like hemp, coconut, and camelina do not have flavorings. However, highly processed oils like vegetable, soy, corn, and canola do. Check the labels on your supplements. Most all supplements for horses contain natural or artificial flavorings and the often hidden MSG. Remember, it is not just the amount of chemical additives and flavorings. It is how those chemicals and the ingredients they are combined with over time affect the body system at large and the GI tract in particular. For dogs, read the labels. Feed raw if you can. Reduce the amount of kibble by adding whole food like buffalo venison, salmon, organic chicken, organic eggs. When dogs eat real food, they maintain a healthier weight. For humans, buy organic, real food or food from a farmer's market or CSA. Food in a package, even labeled organic, can have flavoring added. Even antibiotic-free chicken often has added flavorings. Biostar will never use flavorings because true satiation comes from the whole food itself.
Real horses and real dogs are healthier, perform better, and recover more quickly on real food. That's why Biostar empowers horse and canine owners with 100% whole food nutrition, supplements, and feeding programs. Biostar products are made at their own certified non-GMO facility in Gordonsville, Virginia, using real food ingredients that are raw, freeze-dried, or dehydrated, never cooked, and are free from artificial flavors, colors, soy, corn, wheat, and molasses. The Biostar product line includes a wide range of whole food, horse and dog supplements, treats, and unique artisan poultices that embrace the ancient and traditional uses of clay and plants. Visit biostarus.com today and learn about whole foods and canine and equine nutrition so you can make the best decisions about the care and health of your horses and dogs. That's biostarus.com. Whole food nutrition the way nature intended.
So here we are at Coffee Klatch, and I was thinking about David Letterman's stupid pet tricks, which led me to think about the bad habits we let our horses and dogs get into. Not the mean habits, just the ones that we think are amusing so we don't stop their behavior.
Yes.
I'll go first with my Australian Shepherd Thunder Bear, who is this beautiful, big, black tribe Australian Shepherd, and we have chickens, and the chickens like to collect in the day underneath the boxwood trees. Yes, our boxwoods are trees, but they're like 200-year-old boxwoods that have never been trimmed, so we kind of let them be trees, and the chickens like to be under them, and he'll be moseying along, minding his own business, do-do-do-do. Oh, I think it'd be fun to play with the chickens, and he runs and pounces into the middle of them, and they go flying into the air, and you can see him laughing.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
that's funny.
And then they fly away, and then he saunters off again with a big smile on his face. Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
How about you, Patty?
Well, one of the things is I have two ragdoll cats, and one, her name is Fupa, otherwise known as Princess of the World. And Fupa just spends a lot of time laying around, being luxurious. If anybody ever wants to know what the life is of a princess, I can video Fupa. because she just has it. And so I have an adorable little Australian Shepherd named Burke, and Burke is a little innocent. And sometimes when Fupa is lounging on the ottoman, Burke's looking at me, and I can see that Fupa is just getting ready to swat at him. And it's not like but she's laying down, but she doesn't move any muscles in her body other than the swat of her paw. And Burke is slightly afraid of cats because they tend to chase him. Not my cats. That's another story. But anyway, I will let Fupa just be lounging, and Burke will be looking at me doing his little wiggle thing and just be so excited. And Fupa will bonk him on the butt, and he screams, he goes running away. And I feel horrible and laugh so hard because it's so silly that this dog is afraid of cats, and he screams like murder. And
he's afraid of cats for a reason. He keeps getting bonked.
Well, it's not Fupa that started it. I have to tell you that when I was in Houston, we got some feral cats that eventually we got spayed and we let them out. And there were two black cats that were very smart, very, very smart, and they were calculating. And one day, Burke came running through like a little puppy and being really cute. And I guess it pissed the one cat off to the point where she kind of went up and was kind of like going to chest him, and he backed off. Well, she kept walking towards him, and he backed off to the point where he ran. Well, it ended up becoming this game of he would come in with me during the day or, in the morning, and the cats would come out and they would start running towards him, and he would just take off. And so the cats learned that they could kind of do this because Burke trained them. So now it's become now he's like, he goes up and lays down with the cats and my cats at home, but he does he's afraid of cats outside of his own home. And I think Fupa's picked up on this, and that's why she finds this so entertaining. So basically, Fupa's naughty. That's all there is to that.
Yes.
She's just naughty.
I love a naughty
Jennifer?
Entertaining, but she's naughty.
I love a naughty cat.
I do too.
There's something satisfying about it.
Very.
I think it's because deep down, I think maybe in a former life I was a cat, because they do all the things I wish I could do as a human. It's like, really? I can just do that just because I feel like it. Yeah. I like that.
That would be
And you can't make me.
You can't make me. Yeah.
I like that. So what bad habit have you allowed a horse or a dog?
Oh, there are many, many over the years. But the current horse, Nigel, the big dopey thoroughbred, also affectionately known as Big Lumbering Oaf. He's got this thing that it doesn't matter where you're going, whether I'm riding him or I'm leading him. If there is a bucket, barrel, tub, box, containment device of any sort, he has to go over and stick his big head in it and tip it over. So if I try to walk down the aisle of the barn, there's like feed tubs and water buckets. There's just, lines. He has to stop at every freaking single one. It'll take a half an hour to walk down the aisle. And I just laugh so hard at it. And I let him do it. I shouldn't.
God, that is funny.
He just wants to see what's in every single one.
Oh, that's so funny.
What's in this one? What's in this one?
No,
What's in this one over here? What's underneath of that one?
No, it's kind of cute.
I just let him do it. It's cute.
Well, I have a corgi cat story.
Oh.
Patty, you remember Toby, my corgi?
Toby.
He's a red and white.
I don't think I ever met Toby.
Really?
That made a big. Yeah, that made.
Yes, you met Toby because he was in Venice after 2 years after Wookie. So Toby.
Okay.
I had this several awesome cats, and this one particular cat was really naughty, and I can't remember what set this off, but it originated with the cat doing something bad. For instance, sharpening his claws on the couch.
Right.
And so I reprimanded him. I said, "Bad cat." And Toby was like on the couch with me. And so he went, ruff, ruff. From then on, if I said bad cat, ruff, ruff. Bad cat, ruff, ruff.
Oh,
bad cat, ruff, ruff.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
That's awesome. That's good stuff.
He wanted to help with the discipline of the cats.
Just helping out.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Because he's a giver.
He was a total giver.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. That is good.
I know I let my horses get away with murder. I know I do. I let.
Well, my favorite, not that this was a bad story, is but when Sabi would walk Pi with the lead rope.
Okay, so
that was the cutest thing.
Kima Sabi, another one of my Australian shepherds, and
the Australian shepherd. Let's just get that clear.
I had a horse named Pi. We could hand Sabi the lead rope for Pi, and he would lead the horse down to his stall, drop the lead rope, and the horse would walk in his stall.
Oh my gosh.
It was the funny thing was, I don't know who was more proud, Sabi or Tigger. Because
yeah, right.
I don't care what I was doing. She'd be like, Patty P, come watch this. I'm like, oh my God, here we go. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to give you 5 seconds off your lesson because I've got to go watch this again, because Tigger would be so excited. And I have to tell you, I was delighted every time, because it was pretty cute. It was pretty darn cute.
It was, and a couple of times he was able to walk him around the barn, the outside of the barn on a lead rope.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, the horse was like, yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
like not under saddle, but with Sabi, he was chilled.
Yeah, well, and it's funny because I tried to teach. I had Burke doing that for a period of time with Estrano, and I told you Burke's afraid of cats. Well, I can only tell you what he thinks Estrano was. He thought it was a large cat, and he was just like, yeah, and like he'll like touch the end of the lead rope and then just kind of like stick his tongue out, like, yeah, I'm not getting near that thing. It may chase me. Poor Berkey.
Lionheart's girlfriend is a decorator.
Oh.
And yes, and she likes to rearrange all the halters, lead ropes that are hung. I have a shed row barn, so things are hung nicely on either side of her Dutch door. And she thinks it's great fun to go and pull them all off and either put one on one side or throw them out in the dirt, or and I don't just very feng shui. And I got to the point where I was really getting annoyed with it, so I just took them all away. She was so pissed off. This little mare she banged, she dug. And then when I put him back, happy as a clam, throwing them, moving them, shaking them.
She needed her toys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
Try hanging a rubber chicken in the aisleway and see what happens. Just make sure you have your camera going.
I'd have to hang it on, one of the hooks.
Oh yeah, put a little piece of cotton rope on there so it hangs on one of the halter hooks. And all I ask is that when you film that and put it up on YouTube, make sure that you tag.
I'll credit you.
And tag it Healthy Critters Radio. You'll go viral.
Oh, that's funny.
So if you have a funny story about a bad habit of your dog or your horse or your guinea pig or your cat, let us know at healthycrittersradio.com or on Facebook, Healthy Critters Radio.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks to our sponsor, Biostar US. You can find them online at biostarus.com.
Get the Horse Radio Network phone app on iOS or Android by searching for Horse Radio Network in the App Store. It's free and easy to use.
For details about today's show, go to healthycrittersradio.com, where you can find links, photos, and more information about our guests.
As always, we love your feedback. Please follow us on Facebook under Healthy Critters Radio.
Be sure to visit all the great shows on Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
Love your dog.
Hug your horse.
Feed your chickens.
Clean your litter box.
Dance with your goat.
Slither with your snakes.
Howl at the moon.
Hang with your hamster.
Party with your parrot.
Waddle with your walrus.
Outwit your otter.
Cuddle your cows.
Rap with your raptor.
Go chipping with your chipmunks.
Forgive your fox.
While hedging your hog.
We also recommend that you rack with your raccoon.
Gyrate with your giraffe.
Meditate with a meerkat.
Uber with your orangutan.
Facebook with your flamingo.
Ponder with your panda.
Walk with your Wookie.
Yawn with your yak.
Twitter with your toucan.
Go raining with your reindeer.
Dropbox your dragon.